Okay, so do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I do. So, hi everybody, I'm Flóra Novák, and I hope you're feeling well. Hi, good evening.
Hi, Miriana.
And I'm the director and the performer of today's show. And I'm here with Zsolnai, who is the composer of the music of the show. Fari, do you want to talk a little bit about this finally music?
The finale. Yeah.
Finale, yeah,
Yeah.
finally.
So I started to write the finale, and the process was that I mocked up something of the theme. I sent it to Flora, and then she rehearsed on it, and then she gave back with instructions. And I kind of pre-recorded half of the finale and sent it to her, and then very quickly I received the feedback that said, "Yeah, it's great. Can we keep the first 45 seconds?" The original finale is 7 minutes long. So, yeah, it took a bit of thinking to condense that into well, it's not 45 seconds, it's a minute and 5 seconds.
Compromise.
Yeah,
Compromise
it's
is
a
very
compromise.
important. Because the
But
thing is, Freddie was reading the different chapters of the play usually, and but I didn't understand why this finale is so long, because in the original play, it's like 2 sentences.
no,
Like, okay, God, what do I do? Well, trust and fight, my son. So that's it. Actually, what I do in my version, it's that simple. So I told Ferry, look, I can't just look up for 7 whole minutes. It's not that interesting.
I really don't understand why.
Well,
they
that's why
they
you have
do
your
that on
own album.
concerts. So yeah, the I actually looked up the shortest finale in the history of music, and there are two that are about 2.5 minutes long. One from Haydn, and the other one is from Webern. And I just won the Golden Award because my finale is 1 minute and 5 seconds long. So this is officially the shortest finale in the history of orchestra music.
Congrats.
Okay, we got questions.
Oh my God, I'm looking at it. I don't see the questions actually.
Okay.
Uh,
What was the inspiration behind Eve's garment?
the garden.
No, the
Oh no, the
garment, the
garment.
costume.
Yeah. So I wanted something that represents nudity, but also I didn't want to perform nude for that total hour. But I really liked some representations of Eve. In some pictures, she is represented with the snake already on her body. So she is naked and just the snake covers her body. And I kind of took that and also the classic leaf costume. So it's the combination of that, and I wanted to make it a little bit more subtle. And I really liked that they are just a little bit shiny. I thought that was pretty.
And then there was also the record cover.
The what? Ah, do you mean the coat?
No, the
No.
record cover of
Yeah.
from the 80s.
Yeah. You sent me a record cover. That's right. That's why I chose the shiny one, because you showed me that picture where people were nude but not nude, and also bit art like aerial vibes, like gymnast vibes.
Yeah,
circus
so
groups.
that was the cover of Boney M's Oceans of Fantasy. They had this very controversial costume, and when Flora told me what was her plan, that immediately came to my mind. So I sent it to her.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
next question.
and also I needed the coat. Sorry, just a few thoughts on that, because as a puppeteer, we usually wear black. So that means that you are invisible. So I wanted something that makes me invisible for a minute, and then I can just uncover my head and I'm there. Yeah. Next question. Can you read
Okay,
it to me?
I understand that ultimately it poses a dilemma to have a child and contribute to the continuation of humanity or not. Is it an open question that appeals to the public?
I mean, in this case, I think it's different because they are the first human, the first humans. So if they don't have a child, then nobody is here on Earth. So I wouldn't take it that way. I think Eve's emotional roller coaster in the end, it's much more tied to Adam and the relationship, because they are fighting. I mean, Eve is fighting to get back together. And after all that, Adam would so Eve would just stay there alone. So I thought maybe she has some tough feelings about that to resolve before starting the human race, because they have to make peace to start this whole history and have hope. I think maybe that's the final message, to have hope.
What was the inspiration for Adam's appearance, and what is his interior made of to make him so malleable?
So my first thought was to make him look like the sand that he's coming out, like the sand, because that's what he is made of. And I wanted to find a textile that represents that. But obviously, later on, as I continued rehearsing and creating the show, in the Aten scene, the one with the needles, obviously it brings back some voodoo doll vibes, and I just went with it. I really like the second meaning of it, because he basically just goes through everything that happens, and he represents all humanity. So I really like that picture. The inside, it's just cotton mostly, and I have he has wires in the limbs, so that's why I can move him and he stays that way. But that really makes him breakable, because as you can see, a lot of happens to him. So usually after each show, I have to just fix him quickly, because he breaks bones. I break his bones. Yeah. I tried with different wires to make it more durable, but that's the best option. It's aluminum wire, if you're interested.
The female figure is integrated as a companion and active participant. Was this a conscious decision to make the woman part of the story, or was she already integrated into the tragedy of man?
So no, actually, in the original play, only Adam knows that they are visiting this dream with Lucifer. So Eve is part of every scene, but she doesn't really know that it's a dream. But she is the one always pushing the story forward and always making the change. Um, I I really wanted to make her more active, because I wanted to make the show about their relationship. So I wanted to make her to be more present. And also, in object theater, when you're manipulating the objects, uh, as you manipulate, you get a second meaning, because you will become this godlike figure. And I'm really interested in experimenting with this relationship between the puppet and the puppeteer, because that can have so many layers. And also I liked that Eve is so much bigger than Adam, because that brings out this Mother Earth energy also. So this creating, nurturing energy.
And I all the way protested that Adam has to have a beard, and he didn't get one.
No, he won't. Sorry.
Yeah, your heart has.
I know.
Okay, did the foreign audiences understand the play without having the context of the original?
They had different layers of understanding. I had one reviewer, Tom Corradini, who did the interview and the review with me after the Fringe. And he, without knowing the context of the play, got pretty much everything. I mean, a lot of it. There are people who didn't even understand the two masks. So it was a spectrum. But most of the audience said that they really enjoyed the show. They could appreciate the humor and the beauty of it. And they understood the scenes, what it meant. They had no idea, obviously, about the tragedy of man, but they didn't really needed it. And that was the goal of my experiment, if the nonverbal form can transform this story. And I just wanted to make a story that the public enjoys, and I succeeded. So
You significantly deviated from the original story anyway.
yeah, I rewritten a lot of the scenes because I just wanted to make different episodes about what I was most interested in that scene.
And sometimes the play gets extremely complicated. For example, the unintended love scene is a replacement for two scenes that happen in Prague, where this is in a dream where they go into a dream. It's Kepler's dream, dreaming of the French Revolution. And it's hard to follow even when you hear the dialogue, but without that, I don't think it's comprehensible.
But also, my experience was that people who didn't even knew that it was a dream inside of the dream, they were not disturbed by it. They were like, oh, love scene. Oh, French Revolution. Oh, love scene. So the foreign public just took it as it was, like different episodes where things happen, and a lot of stuff happening without conversation. So you just have to analyze everything. So you don't. It's in my opinion, it's more digestible that way, because you don't, until the very end, you don't really focus on a big story if you're a foreigner and don't know the tragedy of man. You just have little stories, and in the end they are usually like, wow, okay, so we go back, all right.
Tuferi, how much of the vocals were done by you and how much was someone else or sampled? But the majority of vocals are sung by me. There are three different samples. The female choir is a sample, but it does sing my lyrics. It's a very very complex plugin that can do that. The throat singers, that's not me. That's also a sample in the Egyptian scene. And the Gregorian chant is an actual Gregorian recording that I used. But all the other vocals are me, and I also wrote the Latin lyrics. So if anyone understands Latin, please forgive me, because I don't. Okay. How did the objects and puppets find their roles? Did you know from the beginning what object would represent what, or did it evolve during rehearsals?
Oh, it was a lot of experimenting, and For the most part, I followed the story, so I didn't really jump a lot. If I got stuck with one scene, then I would jump. Or there were some scenes where the object just kind of just it was just an easier option. So I really like to follow that organic path. I mean, what I mean by that, for example, in Rome, hedonism, the fruit orgy, I make a pretty big mess. So what comes after is the religion and the obsession with purity. So I have a mess that I have to clean up. So I just incorporated in it, in the scene, and I had a lot of inspiration in very cheap Chinese stores. I just went in and I looked for interesting stuff, and also the toy shop was a big inspiration. Um, I had some looks with the 6 kg of kinetic sand, the Play-Doh, and a lot of plastic animals. Yeah.
Which scene's music was the most challenging to compose and why? Oh, well, the entire thing was quite challenging. This is my first attempt at a completely orchestral score. So I really wanted to take it seriously to keep the limitations and the rules of classical music and orchestration. But I deviated here and there. One of the well, it was very challenging actually from a technical point of view. Was the temptation scene with the snake? Because I really wanted it to be not classical sounding, but it still uses the entire orchestra. So even the saxophone solo is part of the Philharmonic Orchestra. So it's only the drums and the bass guitar that I added, and that's a very complex piece of music because it starts with the choir and an organ that has to be mixed in a certain way to sound large enough, and then it goes into this groove, this jazzy groove, but then it goes into this orchestral explosion scene. And so I had to make 3 different mixes and then incorporate them into one continuous piece. That was extremely challenging. Composition wise, I would say the Christmas scene was very tough to make because you know what Christmas music is like, so you want to make something that actually resembles that, but they're usually very simplistic melodies. But if you do simplistic melodies, then it will sound like something else, but it shouldn't, and it all had to fit into the orchestra score as it was.
And
So
also
yeah.
my very easygoing instructions.
Well, the best instruction that I ever received, that was the Athens scene, and the after I sent the entire music for that scene, I received this epic.
It was.
Like, okay,
It is.
great. How much did the puppetry and score influence one another throughout the creation of the final product? Was there some back and forth, give and take, changes made to one as the other evolved?
I think it's a very intense back and forth. Like we work together like this.
Yeah, constantly.
Yeah. For the most part, I had to first think about some concept or something to give Ferry. Ferry sent me the mock-up version of the music, I tried to make a scene with the objects that I chosen, and later we had to adjust a lot for the rhythm of the scene. And yeah, there are some things that I do slower or try to come up some more ideas to fill in the music, because I wanted to last that long, so I knew that I had to do some more details to get to the musical point that I really needed. And if I really liked the musical point that Ferry made, like big change or something, then I used that, or I asked him to move that point closer or further away.
Yeah, some
But
of the musical ideas actually came from Flóra. For example, the Gregorian chants was her idea for the Constantinople scene, and she specifically asked me to make some distortion with the chants
I
to,
told you to make it creepy.
yeah, to make it creepy. So, and I, a few days before we talked about that, I went to an Oscar concert, and he was using a vocoder, and then it came to my mind. So I showed it to her how that sounds, and that's why the high register vocals in that Gregorian chant, they are not actually vocals; they are the Gregorian chants distorted with a vocoder, and that's how it came. But most of the tracks have two different versions because this is very specifically made for this performance. But I also had my own versions, and then I wanted to do something with them. So I released that as an album, which doesn't require you to watch the show and be able to listen to it. But this was a very close collaboration, and there were a lot of small changes made so that the music fits perfectly for what's happening on stage. Thank you very much for joining, and I switch back to the other overlay. So if you want to follow us, then you can these social medias. And yeah, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.